The manager pushes through the swinging door to the break room. Slipping off his gauntlets and taking a minute to unbuckle the straps of his chestplate, he places them on one of the 2 plastic wooden chairs and leans his sword against the edge of the small table they surround. He hated wearing it, but it was a fairly reasonable health and safety precaution when on the floor stocking shelves and the new hire wasn't nearly ready to be out there. He grabs his sandwich from the fridge and sits across from his armor, the chainmail shirt he still wore rattling against the hard plastic seat. He glances at the monitor in the corner of the room to see a view from behind the counter. The newbie was standing behind the register, large iron bars separated her and a scaly arm that was just leaving the screen waving off a "Have a nice day." She then dips below the counter to organize some products, the last of the rush having headed out. His attention returns to the sandwich he had been unwrapping from its plastic cover. Taking a bite, the bread had gone soggy from the ham that gave it any flavor, and the bright yellow cheese gave it a chewy texture. He glances back at the screen to see a new customer standing at the counter. Its body tall and slender, but its arms oversized, the weight of them had it hunched forward. A gorilla with no fur and albino white skin, its lipless mouth created a toothy grin on its face. It stood there with no products to purchase in sight. Usually the beginning of a good story, the manager thinks. She's been here for a few weeks. Let's see how she handles it. He sees her reach behind her back into the waistband of her jeans and pulls out a small leather handle. That bad, that fast. With the click of a button, a blade flicks out of the grip. He places down the sandwich and grabs his sword. As he walks to the door, the sounds of someone demolishing the front and a yell make him break into a run. Bursting into the space behind the counter, he sees part of the countertop torn up where a pole used to be embedded, and 6 packs of elixirs spilt on the floor. He grabs the key from his waist and unlocks the gate to get out onto the store floor. He sees the newbie rolling off a rack of elven bread, now scattered everywhere, and the customer stalking towards her. Its shoulder was cracking from the knife now embedded in it. Not bothering to take the blade out of the sheath, the manager runs up to the customer swinging. He manages to strike the customer's injured shoulder. The weapon grinds against its hide, pulling the sheath down and exposing the blade. At the end of the swing, the sheath clatters to the ground and skids across the tiles. The impact caused the customer's body to twist and face him, but it was like striking a stone. It didn't seem to care at all. The manager ducks behind the creature towards the newbie who had pulled out 2 more knives. He grabs her arm and pulls her to the back of the store, taking cover between a display of sugar cookies labeled "Eat Me" and a freezer full of jugs that read "Drink Me." "What happened?" the manager asks, his attention on the mirror in the corner of the ceiling angled to show the length of the aisle and the creature lumbering down it. "I don't know, he just came in whispering creepy things and then attacked me," the woman said in a panic. The manager hadn't noticed until now, but he could hear hissing. Listening, he realized it was coming from the customer. Its unmoving mouth was whispering something. The manager pushes her to continue along the line of freezers in the back of the store. She turns the corner and pushes the door open with the manager close behind. An immediate dip in temperature takes their breath for a moment. The manager braces with his back against the door. He keeps an eye on the figure stalking in front of the freezers and blocking out the light streaming through the shelves. "Does this have anything to do with your past?" the manager asked. She ignores the question to begin shoving a box across the room to the door. "When I hired you, you said you had problems in your past. Most people who resort to working here do, so I respected your privacy and didn't push. But I kind of need to know if this is related." She walks back to the pile of boxes. In her continued silence, the whispers come through again. "You can take a confession. I don't mean to push, but it seems very obsessed with whatever you did," the manager insists. She pauses in front of another box. "Seriously, how bad could it be? Were you using dust? Did you get mixed up with the Dark Guild?" "She is a murderer that hasn't been punished." "Did you kill someone?" The manager tries to whisper across the room to her. "I was accused of murder," she says, no expression on her face, like it was a recording she hit play on. "That's some careful wording," the manager fires back. "She is free while my brother is dead." "They promised they would erase my past," she says under her breath. "Did you kill him?" "She deserves it." "I didn't even know him," she spills out in a rush. "He had some brother that was mixed up in something." "He deserves justice." "Did you kill him?" he repeats. "You can take a confession. It won't save her life." "Yes," she finally squeaks out. Neither of them speaks. The whirring of the cooling system is the only sound to catch their attention. The manager walks up to the freezers and peeks through to see nothing but the colorful packaging of snacks covering the floor. The newbie gently pulls the freezer door open and leans out. The customer was nowhere in sight. On the floor outside the door, a tiny white doll with a lipless grin was lying on the tiles. "What the hell?" she whispers as she crouches down to examine the doll. She reaches out to it. A flash, and something cracks into the tiles in front of her. Red runs down the length of a blade. The sword jerks free of the floor and retreats back into her stomach. She collapses. The manager steps out of the freezer and over her body. He pulls out a phone, flips it open, and holds down the 1 key. Without a single ring, breathing is heard on the other end. "You were right," the manager says, a quiver in his voice. "Thank you for sending her my way." "I hope you and your brother have gained some peace," a gentle voice came through. "Now to return the favor,